hopefully it will be something that the Minister, the Noble Lady, will support.
Yeah. My Lords, I rise to talk in support of Amendment 170 in the name of my noble friend Lord Banner. And as I indicated... Gascoigne, I'm sorry, Lord Banner's down there. Well, there we are. And as I indicated in the previous group, which is probably why I'm confused, I sat on the CIL review some 10 years ago with Liz Peace, who some of you may know from the Restoration Renewal Programme, and also as gentleman Andrew from the House Builders Federation, which is probably where you get your £8 billion number from, my noble friend. Now, when I was a council leader, we had 3 councils who came together in the Greater Norwich area, and we were early adopters on CIL. We were only the 12th area to do it, and we pooled our CIL, aligned to the administrative boundaries between us, and to really try and make a step change in the amount of infrastructure that was delivered. Now, sadly, following the publication of the CIL review in 2017, few other areas joined the bandwagon, and many areas now aren't in scope, and they have Section 106. But in principle, the CIL, the Community Infrastructure Levy, has much to commend it. It's quick, simple, clear, and it's a lot more straightforward than Section 106. But there are some problems, and one of the problems is sufficiency. Frankly, what we discovered on the CIL review was that the amount of money generated by the CIL was probably somewhere like 15% of the total infrastructure requirement, and that was aggravated in many cases by a large number of exemptions, self-built homes, offices converted under permitted development to residences, and so forth. There was a further aggravating factor in that local authorities aren't permitted to borrow against future CIL receipts in the way they are against Section 106. And that made it significantly harder to get that sort of the big chunky infrastructure done. Now, as a group of local authorities, we created the Section 123 list, where we listed out all the things we expected CIL to fund. And I remember there were sections on green infrastructure, social infrastructure, education, highways and community facilities, including libraries. Over 400 lines populated this Section 123 list, which was published annually with a big report so everyone could see what we planned to spend the money on. And of course I support completely the principle of Amendment 170, but it just doesn't go far enough, because it isn't enough just to say, well, there's so much money is being raised on this job and, well, that's it. You've got to balance it, not just with the money coming in, but what you plan to spend out on, and also the cash flow, because it is a simple truth that you raise the money, and it is only 15%. The next work, and the hardest work, is turning that 15% and leveraging it in with other sources of money, possibly with joint ventures and so forth. We need to and CIL is about financing infrastructure, not just funding it. Financing is putting that deal together. Funding is just writing the cheque. And I think it's really important that we help the public to understand and to see that essential difficulty. Time doesn't permit, actually, all the ways in which we try to do that, but I do think that this amendment doesn't go far enough in the sense we need to ensure that the money coming in, Section 123 list of the infrastructure going out, any financing, and importantly, and this is probably the most important thing that I think this amendment falls short on, is that it doesn't set the cash flowing. Where do you see this money going in 26, 27, 2028, and so forth in a 10-year rolling period? Because unless you do that, what you find out is just by publishing the amount of money you've raised, it gives pressure to get the money out of the door on less important projects with lower impact, and that's where we found a difficulty. Also, in having this more thoughtful 5- and 10-year rolling programme, which contains the income, the expenditure and the cash flow, you give clarity to the development community, so that if you wish, and if it's sensible to do so, you can substitute, if you will, take investment in kind instead of an up cash payment. And that can be very useful, because if a new school, for example, is on the Section 123 list, and the developer obviously is interested in the new school helps him sell his houses in a large development. But if the money isn't quite there just yet, being open and honest and transparent, but in this more complete way, makes it quite clear how schools can be financed by the developer themselves in kind, and sometimes you can leverage more there. So I support the principle. It doesn't go far enough. We need a 5 or 10 year programme. Certainly in my area, we publish a comprehensive annual report, which includes all the lines, the income and the outcome. But I would just make the observation, just posting the balance is useful, but it doesn't tell the story. And that's really what we need to do to get the infrastructure built, but also the public on side.